ihanda ang inyong mga sarili para naman sa isang diskusyon na tungkol sa isang mainit at trending issue ng ating bayan and of course ng ating mga schoolmates na nasa paaralan. Kaya naman kasama ang ating mga espesyal na panauhin, abangan ninyo po ang aming palitan ng opinyon at impormasyon tungkol sa classroom discipline dito lang sa Schoolmates!
Isigaw ang tinig mo, ihayag sa buong mundo ang karapatan, kalayaan. Buksan ang isip mo, kaalaman ang yaman mo sa karapatan, sa kalayaan.
Para sa episode ngayong gabi, tatalakayin natin ang tungkol sa viral video ng isang emosyonal daw na guro na hindi napigilang manermon sa klase. Sa naturang live stream, hindi na itago ng guro ang kanyang galit dahilan upang makapagsabi siya ng mga hindi magagandang salita sa harap ng kanyang mga estudyante. Samot-sari naman ang mga naging reaksyon ng netizens na nakapanood ng video na ito. Ipinatawag din daw ito ng Department of Education o yung guro ay ipinatawag ng DepEd upang magpaliwanag sa kanyang naging aksyon. Kaya naman guys, for this topic makakasama natin, I'm sure ito mga I feel na mas alam talaga nila yung topic talaga ngayon dahil ang makakasama natin ay isang millennial teacher at isang Gen Z teacher. Guess who's who? Ayan, yan ang game natin today. Let's all welcome Sir Reynold or Sir Ray and Sir Paul. Ayan, sir. Welcome sa ating show today. Welcome sa Schoolmates. Ayan. So, syempre, no, just a bit of a background. Don't say your schools na lang siguro, no? So, we want na maging school agnostic yung view natin and that's something that we'd like to talk more about with you, no? So, Sir Ray, ano po ba, or saan kayo na lang nagtuturo ngayon, no? Don't say the school na lang. And Sir Paul, same as well.
I mean, as of the moment, I am teaching in senior high school. I'm handling subjects like research and science subjects. And I'm also teaching in college, in a state university, a local community college. And as of the moment, I'm also doing research in school.
Right. So, thanks Sir Ray, Sir Paul. May nabalitaan ako kanina eh. Medyo may history kayo ni Sir Ray. Go.
Actually, I am now teaching naman in a private institution for almost 2 years now. No? Hindi na fresh graduate. But,
Pero fresh pa din.
Sana po. Pero yun nga po, currently, I'm teaching English subjects, including reading and writing skills, AAP, and others po. And also, I am currently an organization advisor in the school I am teaching.
Yes.
And same with Sir Ray. No, I'm also into research. So medyo research teacher ko rin siya before.
Yeah. Yun pala ang history,
Yun
no?
pala ang history,
And
yeah.
syempre, no, as mga teachers, nag-aambag pa rin tayo sa pool of knowledge, ika nga through research, which is still part of teaching. So, nabanggit nyo kanina, Sir Paul and Sir Ray, no, medyo, since may history kayo at estudyante ka dati ni Sir. So, guess who's who na nga kung sino ang millennial and Gen Z.
Yes.
So, looking back siguro sa history ninyo as mga estudyante, ano yung naabutan yung pamamaraan ng pagtuturo or at least pamamaraan ng disiplina sa loob ng mga classroom? Can you tell me about your experiences? Siguro simulan muna natin, Sir Ray.
Okay. As for my part, nung ako ay estudyante, this was during the late 90s and early 2000s. Ang teacher namin noon ay talagang mataas ang respeto namin sa mga guro. Pangalawa, talagang yung discipline nila ay talagang strict. Tapos ito yung tinatawag nating old style o yung traditional style of teaching and providing discipline na kung saan parang parent yung dating nila, they look sternly at you, seriously at you. Tapos, ito yung point na minsan nagtataas sila ng boses. At noong time ko rin, naabutan ko yung tinatawag nating corporal punishment. Na sinasabi natin, pag halimbawang ikaw ay nag-ingay, pinapa-squat ka sa either sa harapan, sa labas. Ano yung tinatawag nating face the wall?
Yeah.
No? Na, kaya naman, pag halimbawa, sabihin natin, may point din na yung kung naririnig nyo po sa inyong mga tito at tita, yung tinatawag nating, anong pwesto mo or anong place mo doon sa classroom? Row 4, malapit sa basurahan. Ibig sabihin, kung hindi man ikaw ay mahina, maaaring ikaw ay maingay.
Oh, okay. May ganun pala tayo. So,
Yes.
napaisip tuloy ako, saan nga ba ako na lugar dati?
Correct.
sa aming, sa aming classroom. Pero thanks, Sir Ray. Sir Paul, ikaw naman, ano experience
Siguro
mo?
partly dun sa nabanggit ni Sir Ray na experience ko din. But during my elementary years or maybe sa early ng secondary. No, pero yun nga, naranasan kong mapalo sa kamay before ng teacher ko kasi madaldal kami, maingay kami.
Ruler ba yan?
Parang ano siya, meter stick.
Oh my God.
Pinaharap kami sa harapan ng mga students, then pinaganon yung kamay namin and pinalo kami. No? But also, siguro nandun yung point na nag-a-adjust na yung mga teachers along the way. Nung paunti-unting tumatagal ako sa pag-aaral, nagbabago rin yung way ng pagtuturo. Kasi nga, doon na nagkakaroon ng mga bagong policies, kung paano ititrato ng mga teachers yung mga student. Siguro, madalas nababalikan namin yung mga words ng mga teachers sa amin. More on words na kasi sa amin Parang yung way ng motivation nila is sinasabi nila na, for example na lang, hanggang tagapalakpak na lang ba kayo? More of that. But that's how I think they motivate their students and that's their way.
To
During that time po.
participate, no, usually.
Opo.
So, looking back naman through your parang student days, tas ngayon you are now teachers, paano nyo naman masasabi na style na ginagawa ninyo now with your students? Did you apply the same style of school or classroom discipline as you've experienced? Or ano na yung masasabi nyong personal touch ninyo ngayon in, kumbaga, affecting discipline inside your own classroom? Siguro, since medyo mas experience ka, Sir Ray, ikaw muna.
Okay. As for me, for my classroom discipline, sa mga classroom course, mga classes ko, what I do or what I adapt is a little bit of everything as I see fit. And following what we call the code of ethics for professional teachers. Kasi we are expected to adhere to that. And what I do is yung may part na seryoso, lalong-lalo na at the beginning of the school year. Especially when I am laying down the rules and regulations, the expectations, what I wanted to happen or what I wanted to, I try to have them manage the expectations kung ano yung mga inaasahan natin sa kanila. And then at the same time, I also ask them what they expect from me. That's also part of the old ways. Pero they see that as something na workable for them kasi nakikita nila yung tinatawag na they participate in the learning process.
Right,
no?
right.
So it's a two-way process, and they are involved in the learning process as well. May mga pagkakataon din naman na nagiging relax ng konti kasi hindi ka naman po pwedeng maging strict all the time. We have a different set of learners right now. So naabutan ko yung last set or last group of millennials, the Gen Z, and right now I'm about to face the new the Generation Alpha. Paparating na sila. So that is one thing that I am really waiting for. And at lahat ng mga ito, there must be an adjustment. Hindi po pwedeng, kung ano yung ginamit mo sa millennial, you're also going to use those teaching style and discipline style dito. And at the same time, we are guided once again by what we call RE 7610, na tinatawag nating child protection policy, na kung saan we are imposing positive or non-impunitive or non-violent discipline. Itong klaseng disiplina na ito, it's still stern, but it is more constructive in nature. Ayun.
So, Sir Ray, move lang din ako to Sir Paul. Sir Paul, given na ikaw was in the midst also of that transition, kumbaga sa transition ni Sir Ray, part ka doon. At ngayon na nagtuturo ka na, syempre, ikaw rin, you have your own set of journey when it comes to watching kids grow, learn in your care, no? So, ikaw, ano yung personal touch mo naman na siguro or bigyan mo rin kami ng idea, meron ka bang kinary over doon sa the way nagtuturo sina Sir Ray noon na you think is still applicable sa mga estudyante mo ngayon and your own personal touch na sabi mo naman different from how your other teachers did it?
Siguro I can say na teacher ako ngayon because na-inspire ako sa mga teachers ko before. But of course, kukunin lang natin yung mga bagay na tingin natin effective sa atin during the time na estudyante tayo.
Right.
Siguro now, it's different kasi ang mga student ko ay Gen Z rin. So parehas kami ng generation and at some point, I'm trying my best to understand from their perspective na maybe may mga reason or may mga dahilan kung bakit nagagawa nila yung mga bagay. And from that, I'm trying to parang broaden my perspective or my point of view kung paano ko i-handle yung mga bagay-bagay. No, just to share with you, no, siguro sa first school ko kasi yung tinuturuan ko ngayon. And one thing siguro or one mantra that I've gotten from that institution is the mantra of firm but affirming. We need to be firm with the rules and regulation. But at the same time, we need to affirm kung saan ba nanggagaling yung mga bagay-bagay and try to understand them from that perspective. So parang ganun namin or ganun ko tinatry i-handle if in case there is an instance wherein may mga problema talagang kinakaharap inside the classroom.
So parang what I'm hearing from both of you is important pa rin sa inyo yung input din ng mga estudyante, no, when it comes to expectation setting, the way you communicate, nag-a-adjust talaga kayo, no. So now as I move naman to my next question, so Sir Ray, balik ako sa'yo, no. Bilang syempre mas marami na kayong na-witness na generations of students din and as well as in different settings, have you encountered, kumbaga, when you encounter these kinds of differences, how did you handle them distinctively? Meron ba kayong parang one remarkable na ginawa per generation? As you've mentioned, different ang way to handle millennials, Gen Zs, and alphas, or Gen alphas. So, ano sa tingin niyo yung parang, shucks, meron pala kaming ganitong kailangang adjustment, hindi ko naman naisip na the way kami magsalita, the way namin ituro isang bagay ay mag-iiba. Ano sa tingin mo yun, Sir Ray? From your end?
Pagdating sa late millennials, papunta sa early Gen Z, medyo maseryoso. Tapos medyo gumagamit pa kami ng tipong mga remnants, no? Mga lumang panahon, something like that. Medyo, it's still working with them.
Relatable pa to them.
Yes, relatable pa. Now, nung dumating na itong set ng mga Gen Z, yung talagang nasa mid na, we have to make the adjustment, just what I've said earlier, na kung saan hindi na masyadong nagtataas ng boses. And you really have to explain to them why you did something, why you reprimanded them. And at the same time, mas yung pasensya namin, mas mahaba. Parang ganon. It works both ways in private and also in public or among public learners. Kasi pareho lang naman sila ng, kumbaga, they're the same type of, kumbaga, if I'm going to make use of the biological term, they're the same type of organism. Parang ganon. So, yung mga adjustments na ginagawa namin, siguro ang pinaka mabibigyan ko ng emphasis is yung mas mapagpasensya kami pagdating doon sa latter generation o dito sa Gen Z. Kasi unang-una, hindi mo sila po pwedeng salubungin yung kanilang kagustuhan. Take note that Gen Z are more aware of their rights.
Right.
Ayun. Mas nandito kasi yung tinatawag nating advent ng social media. Kaso nga lang, kailangan natin silang tulungan na i-filter yung kanilang nakikita sa social media. Kasi napakadaming kaisipan, mentality, na akala nila, madali nilang paniwalaan. Tapos, they readily believe that without filtering that and without reflecting in the truthfulness of this particular ideas. Na pagka sinabi natin, the idea is Western, akala nila applicable sa kanila, and we're trying to help them to find the truth based on their context.
Right.
Yan po.
Parang kailangan pa rin ilagay na appropriate kung ano yung inaakto nila, kung ano yung iniisip nila, based sa saan sila currently ngayon,
Yes.
diba? And medyo prone din tayo, I think you can both agree on this, no? Prone tayo sa confirmation bias kasi syempre mas marami tayong magkakasama. Oy, tama yun, nakita ko rin yan. Ito yun, di ba? A-accept mo lang yun. Bandwagon mo rin yung i-accept mo na lang based sa kung ano yung sinasabi ng lahat and based sa ano yung paniniwala mo, yun lang din yung i-filter mong correct, di ba? So, I think, Sir Paul, something that we also want to hear from you as well. Since medyo bago ka pa dun sa field of teaching and I'm sure that you've also learned somehow the differences in the policies or rules before. Can you share with us some of the updated DepEd policies or rules na tingin nyo ina-apply ngayon regarding classroom discipline, including the reasons na lang din siguro na nag-lead sa changes na ito? I'm sure, Sir Ray, you can also share, no? Medyo I'll leave it to both of you, but Sir Paul, ikaw mauna.
Siguro, one policy that I can remember, yung recent lang, no? Yung bawal ka magkaroon ng Facebook friend or makipagkaibigan sa mga estudyante mo. So that is one policy na pinapatupad ngayon ng DepEd.
Right.
But yeah, my reaction to that is it's hard. It's hard to follow, especially that you are building rapport with your student. It is not that you want to parang to remove the boundaries. It's not, but more of building relationship to them and for them to easily understand the lessons. Kasi pag komportable yung mga estudyante inside the class or sa teacher itself, mas madali silang natututo. Siguro yun yung pinaka-remarkable change na naaalala ko so far, na for me medyo mahirap siyang i-follow so far sa mga changes. Kasi before parang, although before kasi wala pa naman masyadong, hindi pa rampant ang social media. So maybe kaya wala pa nung policy na yon. So that's one thing I can remember.
Tsaka, for some students, easier for them to just message you on
Yeah,
Facebook na,
opo.
Sir, paano ba to, ganyan, or di na nila nahihabol, or di nila kaya i-email. So, kailangan nila ng mas mabilisang ways of
Actually,
communication.
yun din po.
Right. So, siguro, Sir Ray, Sir Paul, medyo madami tayo na share agad at this first part. Pero marami pa tayong gustong marinig din from you dahil bibitinin muna namin kayo sa aming usapan. Ngunit marami pa kayong dapat abangan sa pagbabalik lamang ng Schoolmates! Welcome back to Schoolmates! Kanina ay napag-usapan namin ni Sir Ray and Sir Paul kung paano nila dinidisiplina ang kanilang klase, including some of the DepEd policies regarding this topic as well. No? So sa puntong ito naman, para mabuo natin yung picture, no? Pag-usapan naman natin ang teacher-student relationship or dynamics, ika nga, sa loob ng classroom. So to join our discussion, nandito si Ella, isang senior high school student under the Humanities and Social Sciences program. So hi Ella, welcome to the edition of our classroom. Well, focus group discussion po ito ngayon. So Ella, right now sa Humes ka, no?
Opo, Humes po.
So
Yes.
Humes na, so again, di ko natatanungin ko anong school, di ko
Yes.
sila tinanong kung anong school
Yes,
nila. Pero ang gusto ko munang malaman, so right back into the topic agad tayo.
Yes.
How is the relationship between teacher and students in this generation? Or sa tingin mo, from how your parents siguro or ates, kung may mga siblings ka, no, kinukwento nila how they were in classroom, how is it different from your generation?
First, ang pinaka-different is the closeness sa teacher and the students. Kasi noon, nakikwento po sa akin ng magulang ko na yung teacher nila is takot sila. Ay, not so takot talaga. Kasi some teacher po noon is hindi naman sila masama or is may medyo strict lang po sila sa mga students.
Masungit talaga, no?
Opo, kaya kapag nakikita po nila yung teacher nila, syempre, parang kinakabahan sila, ganun. Then, compare naman po dito sa sa Gen Z ngayon, katulad po namin, is yung closeness po sa students and sa teacher is meron po talagang parang close friends, ganun. Matuturing po nating friends or matuturing po naming friends yung teacher namin ngayon kasi nakikipag-communicate and also may closeness po sa between po sa amin.
Right. So, syempre natanong ko na how does it differ in your previous generation, no? Pero
Yes po.
siguro, Ella, on your perspective now sa classroom ninyo, parang kapag ba ang mga Gen Zs ngayon, the way kayo magsalita, would you say na you lack respect towards your teachers? I mean, kasi in different generations,
yes.
may disrespectful talaga tayong mga
Yes.
students.
I
At
agree.
pasaway talaga.
Yes.
Kahit anong uri ng saway mo, kahit anong uri ng pakiusap ang gawin mo, hindi talaga gumagana. So, what's your take on it?
Sometimes, di naman po talaga natin maiiwasan na lalo na kapag yung mga estudyante, depende po yan sa estudyante, pero para po sa akin, bilang estudyante, hindi po ako mahilig magmura like that. Pero kadalasan po ngayon sa Gen Z, di po talaga natin, aminado na po tayo ngayon na minsan pag nagto-talk back yung mga students, lalo na kapag yung teacher, may may pinagawang marami like that. Di na po may iwasan. And
It's
also,
giving reklamo agad,
Oo,
due later.
ganyan.
Wow.
And di po may iwasan yung ibang students na parang
May sisi sir, parang may student akong alala. Wow.
di po natin may iwasan yung ibang students na nagsasalita ng masama.
Paminsan nga
Like,
they act on it pa, no? Pero that's not to discourage because again, in all generations naman, meron talagang existent na ganon. And it's really up to the teachers and of course the role of the parents as well to really educate, di ba, and guide them properly. And teachers as your second parents in the in the school. So, ngayon naman, kanina pinag-uusapan natin dynamics, relationship, but we know that there are different factors as to how a dynamics will probably work out. So, Sir Ray and Sir Paul, sa inyo ko direct yung question na to, no? Classroom environment. I think, Sir Ray, medyo mas applicable to sa inyo because you've had a dabble in both. So, how do you think classroom environments affect teacher-student dynamics?
Okay. In terms of classroom environment, anong classroom environment po ba? Physical or is
Pwedeng
it?
physical
Okay.
or pwedeng, I don't know, parang aesthetic.
Okay.
Hindi ko rin sure.
Pagdating sa, pag sinabing physical, wala namang pinagkaiba. It's the same classroom setup that we had late 90s, early 2000, 2010s. When classroom environment in terms of behavior, siguro yun na lang po ang tignan natin, malaki talaga yung pinagkaiba. Kasi nga, with the advent of advanced technology through social media, malaki talaga ang impluensya dun sa mga kabataan. So, yung behavior na yan, nagre-range yan pamula sa, number one, study habits. No? Number two, how they deal with their teachers. Ayan. Tapos, nandun din yung how they deal with their peers. Na sa panahon ngayon, meron yung tinatawag nating peers kasi bullying eh. Pero pag halimbawa, student to teacher, yan yung tinatawag nating disrespect. Pero pag halimbawa naman teacher to student, abuse yun. Ngayon, different context, magkakaiba ng mga nangyayari. Ngayon, sa mga pagkakaibang ito, ayun, papasok ulit yung tinatawag nating adjustment ni teacher doon sa mga yan.
May tanong lang ako, Sir Paul. So, sabihin natin, in the physical realm naman ng classroom environment, there's a difference, no? Parang would you say, or at least in your personal experience, kung meron kayong mga peers din or mga college teachers or even peers talaga na from colleagues who works in a different classroom environment, would you say na kakulangan in supplies or parang a difference in terms of the rations na binibigay per school? Is there a difference as to how students react to that kind of difference or a stark difference in terms of support in the physical sense of classrooms?
Masasabi natin na yes, there are differences pagdating dun sa tinatawag nating physical classroom. Pero ang kagandahan kasi, ang mga teachers, I'm speaking for all teachers, even in the private sector, maparaan po ang gurong Pilipino. Napaka-resourceful. Tama si Sir Paul. And kahit anong mangyari, we are very flexible na kung saan we make the adjustments according to the need. And then, at some point, most of our students, this is a proof, even kung anong generation yan nanggaling, most of the learners appreciate that. Yung tinatawag na resourcefulness. But at some point, meron din naman talaga kaming mga limitations. And again, nandun pa rin yung tinatawag na understanding ng most of the learners. Pero kagaya na sinabi mo kanina, meron pa rin talagang mga learners na hindi rin maintindihan. So, nagbo-voice out sila ng concern nila.
Right.
Pero hindi naman natin yun, ibig sabihin natin, hindi sumasama ang loob natin kasi maintindihan natin, tao rin sila.
Right. Sir Ray and siguro Sir Paul naman, no? From classroom environment, nabanggit na ni Sir Ray kanina yung difference in terms of adjustments. So I think adjustments are really much pointing to teaching styles, di ba? So in terms of teaching styles, sa tingin mo, paano nakaka-affect yung paano ka magturo with regards to the teacher and student dynamic?
Actually, yung paano ka magturo ay dapat nakadepende sa kung sino ba yung estudyante mo or kung ano ba yung mga estudyante mo.
Right.
Actually, nagbabago-bago siya depende dun sa mood ng class. Or kung anong level na ba yung kakayahan ng klase. Realistically speaking, dapat po talaga iba-iba yung lesson plan na prepared. But in reality, it's hard to follow.
Correct.
So we as teachers, what we're doing is we're trying our best to adjust the mood, the way how we talk to them. If there are questions we need to answer. So more of, well right now po kasi we're more of student-centered learning. Kaya po talaga mahalaga kung ano na bang level or kung sino or ano ba yung mga estudyanteng hinahandle namin. If paano ba kami magtuturo inside the classroom.
Correct. No? So I think parang yung responsibility din talaga is upon the teachers to really get to know the class.
Yes.
Kaya talaga rapport building is very important, di ba? Mood setting, expectation setting, parang pagpasok mo pa lang anong nafe-feel ng mga
opo.
estudyante mo, how participative would they be. So with regards sa teaching style, so siguro Ella, no, back to you naman tayo.
Yes.
With terms of student learning, dahil nag-a-adjust ang mga teachers to how the students are or how they learn inside the classroom, anong napapansin mo na factors in terms of student learning when it comes to student and teacher relationship? Kapag ba mas mabagal matuto ang estudyante, parang ano nafe-feel ng student, ano nafe-feel ng teacher? Yeah.
Sa ano naman po, sa amin po sa students, minsan po, naanahan po namin yung teacher, lalo na po sa pag-teaching lesson niya. Example po, yung teacher is medyo di mo gusto. Siyempre yung mga students, hindi po parang wala silang pakialam or alam mo niyo po yun, parang may sariling mundo sila sa loob ng classroom. And then, sa teacher naman po, syempre, yung teacher di naman po sa pilitan na sabihin sa students na makinig kasi di naman po nila hawak sa leg yung mga estudyante. So, the way na magturo yung teacher is patuloy na lang po. And then, kami mga estudyante, it depends po sa teacher na nagtuturo po sa harapan namin. And also, yung ibang students naman is, even though wala silang gana makinig, ano pa rin, nandun pa rin, present pa rin po. Ganun.
I think yun nga parang attendance is even the bare minimum for students, diba? That's actually a sign of respect na, kasi hindi ko na nga naiintindihan, di pa ako papasok, diba? So, that's my personal opinion, no? Siyempre, guys, naging estudyante din ako, alam ko ang mga galawang estudyante, diba? Pero siyempre, guys, balik naman tayo sa, kumbaga, when you say that teaching is a two-way street. Siyempre, it's still a form of communication, no? And intrapersonal relationship talaga yan. And despite all these factors, sa tingin nyo, paanong paraan ba dapat mag-express ng concern ang isang estudyante sa teacher? Kasi syempre, your view is that teachers are doing their best, ito yung efforts that we're making, and you also have your own limitations, which we also respect. But when it comes to a student, parang raising a concern na, shucks sir, hindi ko talaga gets kailangan ko talaga ng ganun. Or, sir, hindi kasi tama yung the way ka, may ganun, di ba? May mga estudyante, iba ang paraan ng pag-raise ng concern. How do you handle it and how should they handle it? Based from your perspective. Sir Ray, siguro ikaw muna.
Opo. Actually, I have heard a lot of stories like that. Na kung saan yung tinatawag natin, simulan natin sa sinasize up yung teacher. Parang ganun. Lalong-lalo na pag halimbawa sabihin natin, the teacher at times may pagkakataon na medyo may nakalimutan or medyo hindi niya sure yung information. May mga estudyante na sabihin natin they wanted to express or voice out yung tinatawag nating response doon sa ganung nangyari. Kung halimbawang tatanungin kung paano dapat i-voice out at kung yung kanilang concern at paano namin ito tatanggapin ng maayos, number one, syempre yung pinaka-respectful manner. Paano yung sinatawag natin respectful manner? Kagaya po ninyo, ako din ay estudyante rin dati. Marunong tayong mag-gauge kung si teacher ba ay sabihin natin...
Na-review niya ba ang lesson?
Yes, na-review niya ba ang lesson? That's one. O kaya naman sabihin natin, ito bang teacher na to ayaw ba siya yung tinatanong siya? Yung kina-question. There are teachers like that. Totoo naman po yun. Kasi yung ego mo matatapakan eh. Parang ganun. Opo. Ngayon, ang pinaka-the best way is be respectful, tone down, o kaya sabihin natin, maybe you can start with positive phraseology. Alam niyo, ma'am, napakaganda ng lesson natin ngayon. Kaso nga lang parang yung part na to, parang hindi ko po nasundan. Pwede ko bang pakiulit kaya? Parang gano'n. Something like that. No po? So, positive yung gano'n. And ako po, sa mga learners ko, hanggat maaari, I teach them na tinatawag nating positive phraseology. If I may share po, nag-call center agent po ako for 1 year. And yun po yung tinuturo sa amin before. And it's one thing that I find really workable. Pagka if you're dealing with different types of people, lalong-lalo na sa mga guro. Kasi naniniwala ako na kahit kaano kasungit, ka-stern, o yung teacher o kahit sinong tao, pagka maayos ang pakikiusap at pagdulog mo ng iyong concern, palagay ko, makakatanggap ka rin ng maayos na sagot.
Sige. Siguro, Sir Ray and Sir Paul and Ella, last question lang. Tingin nyo ba, paano nyo dapat ma-assess kung, eto, sure ako, Sir Paul, meron ka nito. Yung paano mo na-assess na valid or invalid yung concern ng student? Yung parang, oh shucks, parang mema lang to. Or parang, ay, ito, sure ako may pinanggagalingan to. Paano nyo siya ina-assess?
Kasi parang it's part of the policy that whenever they have concerns, for example, they should provide proof. Siguro pagka alam mo or kilala mo kasing estudyante mo hindi masamang magtanong, but we really do need proof kung bakit ganito yung nangyayari. For example, consistent na absent si student. Ngayon, ni hi, ni ho, wala. So that is the time that even excuse letter, wala. So parang that is the time that, hindi na to
Normal,
valid.
or
Hindi na to valid to. At some point then, for example, pinagbigyan mo na second chance, third chance, pero wala pa rin. Well, that time, hindi na valid to. So that is the time na yun na yung limit ko. I tried my best to reach out. I tried my best to talk to you the kindest way I can. But then, if wala pa rin nangyari, hindi pa rin nangyari ang dapat mangyari, then that is a time that invalid na yun.
Sige, feeling ko magninilay-nilay muna ang ating mga guests today kasi mukhang medyo malalim ang hugot nila at minaalala sila mga estudyante sa mga nabanggit nila at malay mo si Ella pala yun. De, joke lang. Pero syempre patuloy lamang po kayong tumutok dahil sa aming pagbabalik. Ating pag-uusapan naman ay, I think ito relevant to sa inyo, mental health concerns, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga guro dito lamang sa Schoolmates! Alright, nagbabalik ang Schoolmates. We are still here with Sir Ray, Sir Paul, and Ella. At kanina before our break, we mentioned about teachers' mental health. So, time immemorial since the pandemic, pinag-uusapan natin importance and concern of mental health, especially for the youth. So, para naman sa mga teachers, do you think there is enough consideration for teachers in terms of their mental health? And as a follow-up na lang din, kung Ella meron ka din ma-share, how do you think students can help them cope with their stressors, especially which I'm sure naman may load talaga yon in your mental health, especially during very difficult times. So siguro simulan ko muna, Sir Paul.
To be honest, as part of the Gen Z, danas na danas ko yung mga mental health challenges, especially dumaan yung pandemic, and I experienced both online classes bilang isang estudyante at isang guro. So siguro may mga times talaga na may mga challenges mentally. And I can say that teaching itself is one way for me to cope up with it. Kasi whenever I'm inside the classroom, parang napi-feel better ako, to be honest. To be honest, whenever I'm teaching. But it's different if ang reason ay estudyante. Yun yung parang malungkot. Kasi at some point, coping mechanism mo siya pagtuturo mo siya Pero what if there is this time na
yung stressor mo nasa loob ng class.
Student na yung nakakadagdag sa'yo. So the way, siguro kung nakakatanggap ba ng enough, well, institutions, I think, tinatry naman nila yung best na matulungan din yung mga kaguruan when it comes to dealing with mental health issues. But still, hindi siya ganun kadaling ma-end. And it's a long process.
So, thanks Sir Paul. And I'm really sorry na na-experience mo yon. At two sides of the coin ka pa, both as a student and as a teacher. So, Sir Ray, kayo naman, ano sa tingin nyo yung pwedeng gawin ng mga institutions to help teachers better kaya in terms of their mental health? Lalo na kung, again, ang stressor mo ay nasa loob ng paaralan. So, Sir Ray.
That's a very good question, ma'am. simulan ko na po yung pagsagot muli doon sa tanong niyo po kanina na anong ginagawa ng institution, particularly sa Department of Education, para matulungan yung mga guro na para makakope doon sa kanilang mga sa mental health problems na dulot ng trabaho kasi talaga naman stressful or challenging ang maging guro. Hindi naman talaga siya madali. Maraming programa ang Department of Education na inilalagay or kinokondak lalong-lalo na pagka-inset o yung tinatawag nating in-service training. Ito yung tinatawag nating middle of the year training na kung saan nag-invite kami ng mga licensed guidance counselor and then we are being taught of ways on how to handle stress. At the same time, meron ding tinatawag na team building na kinokonduct din ng school at the end of the school year naman. And this is something na parang more on field trip, swimming, na nakikita naman namin na nakakatulong din naman para sa mga teachers. And moreover, meron ding mga tinatawag nating mga special program, yung mga schools na kung saan, halimbawa sabihin natin, there are identified faculty members na kung saan nagkakaroon sila ng ganitong mga problema. The institution or the school administration reach out to them specifically. So we identify that, lalong-lalo na sa amin, dun sa school, I am part of that committee as the Vice President of the Faculty Association. Tapos, yung mga teachers din, again, pumapasok ko dito yung tinatawag nating pagiging flexible nila.
Correct.
If I may share one of my researches, is we try to look into the coping mechanisms sa mga teachers, lalong-lalo na nung panahon ng COVID-19. Dito kasi talagang lumabas na hindi lang estudyante, kundi yung teacher din, na kung saan napakadami rin talagang gawain. But then, still, that's part of the job, that's part of the duty and responsibilities. At nakita namin na ilan sa mga coping mechanisms nila, apart from sa binibigay na tulong ng Department of Education, ay yung tinatawag nating, they talk to their family members, they do exercise, they do Netflix, at marami pang iba.
Kailangan holistic well-being
mostly are successful, but then pag halimbawa kailangan talaga nila ng tulong, the Department of Education, through the institution where these teachers belong or connected with, nagbibigay ng sapat na assistance.
Right. So, Ella, last na lang, siguro as a student, ano sa tingin mo yung pwedeng maging ambag ng mga estudyante na, syempre, ang mga guro, di lang naman sila guro, pwedeng ama din silang pamilya, their own family members, their friends, no, that have their own lives. So, siguro, Ella.
Firstly is, isa siguro sa matutulong ng mga estudyante para ma-less yung stress ng teacher nila is first, hindi papasaway po. Kasi dami na pong estudyante ngayon na nagpapasaway, so stress na yung teacher. Lalong-lalo na po pag yung students is absent ng absent.
Correct.
And also, wala silang excuse letter, ganun. And isa na rin po siguro yung sa about study, about sa grades. Kasi isa na po yan sa mga pinoproblema ng teacher if yung students nila is bumabagsak.
Right.
Kasi, syempre,
Do your best in class.
Opo.
Ganon.
Cargo po yun ng teacher kasi sila po yung advisor. So, mamumroblema din po yung teacher. Kasi, students nila yun, tas, bagsak.
Right.
So, isa po yun sa parang, dagdag stress sa
Correct.
teacher. Kasi yung mga students is, hindi nila tinitake na seriously yung lesson. Yung teacher is, nagre-risk po for teaching.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ella. So, once again, maraming salamat po to Sir Ray, Sir Paul, and syempre kay Ella sa pagsama sa atin sa episode na ito at binahagi ninyo ang inyong mga personal na opinion at mga kaalaman. So, syempre, short lang naman to, guys. We should view teachers and students both as people. Kasi they're very complex beings, di ba? Para tayong mga halangan with complex emotions. So, marami tayong needs na both kailangan mapunan, both inside and outside of the classroom. But, syempre, hindi naman, kumbaga, it's not a free job for teachers to take on all that mental stress. At the same time, they're also doing that for a living. They have family members to feed. So, syempre, ang kailangan muna nating i-assess is tama ba yung compensation and benefits na ibinibigay sa mga guro? Sa inyong mga institusyon, is it the right environment to help teachers and students grow? Kasi if you are to, di ba, ang mission and vision naman ng bawat institusyon na magturo ay gumawa ng capable and, kumbaga, very competent individuals na ipaproduce mo to society. And the basic of that is due decency and respect. So dapat sa loob pa lamang ng mga classroom, syempre sa mga magulang din natin, no? Hindi porket pag nasa loob ng inyong mga bahay ay mabait ang mga bata, sa eskwelahan ay mabait na rin sila. So syempre dapat hawak kamay ang magulang at ang mga teachers to really mold, kumbaga yung holistic development ng mga kabataan. So guys, mag-aral tayong maigi dahil hindi na po madali ang magpaaral ngayon ng mga kabataan. And with that, sa bawat usapin, sa bawat issue, may boses tayo mga kabataan. Sumali, makinig at makiisa dahil opinion natin ay mahalaga. Kaya naman sabay-sabay nating isigaw sa buong mundo, schoolmates, may pakialam ka!
Isigaw ang